Cool. So, just want to make this kind of like raw video. Jeez, I got. I was lighting the fire over there in the fireplace. Didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh, I got more. Jeez. But yeah, just want to do this like kind of raw talk about how I've scaled my business and what the entrepreneur life is like at 21 years old, because it's pretty different than being an entrepreneur when you're like 30 or 50. And I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, I mean, I'm just raw dogging this whole entire video. Like, there's pretty much no basis to it. I don't know how long it's gonna be. Don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's gonna be a good video nonetheless. Again, I wanted to have these raw talks because I don't want to be just like the guru that has like those cliche thumbnails and everything. I want to be the person that's kind of like relatable alongside having a very valuable program. Um, but yeah, so let's get started. So I mean, entrepreneur life at 21 years old, running like a pretty successful business. Obviously, I want to make it more successful, but successful to some people's standards. It's kind of interesting because once you run like a high level business, I mean, I have like 2 employees at this point. It's me, COO, and a setter. But it's kind of interesting because, I mean, you're learning the lessons of like not just your teens, because I started when I was like 19 years old. You're learning lessons of like your youth, which is kind of maneuvering around debauchery almost. Maneuvering around even like lessons that you're learning as a young person, because a lot of young people learn lessons. You know, they're learning a lot of young stuff. Whether you're a millionaire, whether you're brought up by money or whatever it may be, like you're still learning lessons because you're young. You know, and pairing that up with like learning lessons of like a business, of running like a high operating business, you know, it's like double whammy. You know, you're learning two big lessons and two big journeys at once. You know, it's interesting because like people that are even like 26, 27 to like 35, like they've pretty much gone through their lesson phase of being like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. They probably went to college, stuff like that. So they've gone through that. They've kind of like burned everything already. Like, you know, they're over it. So they can scale their business with that wisdom in hand. But when you're 20 years old, I mean, I'm 21, you know, and you're kind of learning the lessons of your youth, you know, alongside running a business where you're learning business lessons and what's doing good, what's doing wrong, stuff like that. I mean, it could be a lot, but also like if you're in this space, I mean, like it's the price you pay. And this is by no means like me complaining. I mean, I'm built for this, to be honest. But it's just like super interesting because I feel like no one's really talking about it, because a lot of people, you know, they just show like the glamorous side. But I mean, there's a lot of lessons when it comes to running a business young, because you're maneuvering, you know, your youth still. Like you're still pretty young. You're sacrificing a lot. You see a lot of people that are like in that college lifestyle, which I'm super grateful that I didn't go to college. But I kind of see them like, dang, like that college lifestyle kind of looks sick. But I've kind of grown out of that phase too, where like I don't really desire it that much, just because I've seen how kind of like how they maneuver around life. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to have like a family by like 25, 26, and again, I'm 21 right now. So there's a lot of sacrifices that I need to do young, not just with my business, but with like life in general, where I kind of weed out certain stuff, kind of like keep my mindset in check, where I have to act like I'm 30 years old and maneuver around 30 years old. And like I'm very grateful for the fact that like my friends and the people I'm very close with and the people that I consider brothers are kind of like dialed in that aspect, because they're pretty much my age, you know, like 22, 23, stuff like that. So they kind of operate at that high level thinking. So they kind of keep me in check. We keep each other in check. But it's just interesting because like you learn the lessons of your youth. You kind of maneuver around your youth, which is like something you just can't, what do you call it? Like you just can't kind of get away from, because you have to learn those lessons. And on top of that, you're learning lessons on running a high operating business. You know, right now I'm managing like 40 something clients. I've worked with like 150 coaches, agency owners, and some freelancers too. So it's like a lot, but you know, I love it because You know, I want to have that responsibility young, and kind of look at it as like a benefit. Of course, you guys do if you guys are young, because imagine the person that you'll be by 30 years old. You know, the wisdom, you know, like the knowledge, like everything that you've learned by 30. You know, like people kind of start their business at 30 with that wisdom in hand. Imagine the person you'll be at 30 with all the wisdom that you already gained. You know, kind of like look at it that way. But I'd say like, yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've kind of like, yeah, learned and just like witnessed and observed. Jeez, it's pretty nice out. I don't know if you guys see those icicles, but it's pretty cool. What's another lesson I've learned? Yeah, I'd say traveling when you're young too. Traveling alongside like running a business, and I don't mean when you're at like 100K per month, 30K per month, even like 10K per month. Like even do it sooner. Like I remember I was traveling all over, like when I was at like 5K a month, spam people with cold DMs, which I don't do anymore because it just sucks. I honestly believe I'm like the best cold DMer in the world, but it's just not sustainable. It's not predictable. It's not a predictable way to scale. But yeah, I mean travel young. Like do your mistakes young, because just run through your mistakes, because again, like imagine the person you'll be at 30 years old. Imagine the person you'll be at 25. And if you start your business, like literally if you're 20 years old right now and you make a ton of mistakes with your business and you're 25, like you're still ahead of the person that started at 25. 25 is still young. 30 is still young. So just imagine that. So travel young, make some mistakes. Yeah, I mean, when I was like at 5K a month, I remember traveling around, like not just state by state, but like traveling around places in like Europe, stuff like that. And that was like before I did with friends. But yeah, I mean, like it just makes the process a lot more fun, because imagine this, like you're working from home, you're in this space for a reason. It's one of the reasons why I call my business Nomad Consulting, which I might change. Might call it like Value Ascension, because I want to target like not just agency owners. I want to help a lot of people, like even coaches included. Not the way that you guys see the coaching coaches pyramid scheme, but like actually helping like coaches in a different way, where it's like I'm even helping like consulting firms. But getting a bit off topic, but yeah, like travel young, because traveling is honestly like fairly cheap. Like if you're making 5K a month, you can easily travel and work and scale. Like I remember traveling and I scaled to 20K per month, like out of my hometown, out of my the place I was living. And it just makes it a lot more enjoyable, because you're in the space for a reason. You want to travel, so like why not just do it as you work? One of my clients, he was at like 4.6K, 2K around. Now he's traveling with his boys in Spain, and he texted me like, "Hey bro, I just hit 10K a month," and he's in Spain. Like how sick is that? So he hit 10K. Like he started traveling before 10K a month. Like don't wait to travel. Don't wait to experience life once you're at 10K a month. Like experience life right now, because like you want to become the person now before you actually achieve it, like physically. You got to become the person mentally before you're that person physically. That goes with everything, like the gym. That goes with scaling to 10K a month, 30K per month, stuff like scaling in general. Yeah, I'm just like become the person that you want to be, like mentally, because you just can't do it any other way, because our brains work on feedback loops. So if we're telling our brains like certain stuff, like I can do this, let's say, I know it sounds cliche, like I can do this or I can't do this, then obviously like your actions will be in direct correlation within that. So just be aware of that, because our brains are super fragile. I've learned that the hard way. Yeah, our brains are super fragile, so just make sure like you're feeding it proper thoughts that actually move you forward. Like I get the whole idea of like being hard on yourself, but like don't like tear yourself apart to where like you don't even want to work, because like you feel like everything is not gonna work, and I've been there. So honestly, like it even took me a while to hit 10K per month with Nomad Consulting. Like I hit 10K per month like it was clockwork with my agency. But the consulting space is like a whole different game, especially like the consulting space that I'm in, where it's like helping coaches and agency owners. But yeah, like I remember times, I'll get a bit vulnerable too, But I remember times like before 10K per month, I like it kind of took a toll on me because I was seeing everybody else scaling to 10K per month, seeing everyone scaling like crazy, and I went to like a solo trip to Big Bear. This is Mammoth, by the way. Like this is not Big Bear. Total sidetrack. But yeah, I went to Big Bear, like a solo trip. Got like a one bedroom, a 1 bedroom cabin. Like I went there solely for the purpose of not doing work because I just didn't want to do anything. Like I just had to figure out everything in my mind, how to figure out like what I really wanted to do when it comes to like even scaling the business. I knew I wasn't gonna like work on the business, but I needed to like figure out like, okay, how do I maneuver around this? Because I feel like everything that I'm doing is right, but nothing is, you know, getting in alignment. So yeah, so went to Big Bear by myself, like a 2-hour drive, and I went snowboarding. I actually like took some shrooms because I just had to figure out everything in my mind. You know, that was like back a year ago, and it might be actually like this time a year ago, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, like I did that a year ago. Took some shrooms to just figure out everything in my mind. Didn't really help because I just wanted to just listen to music while I was on shrooms. I don't do those stuff anymore, by the way. But yeah, I pretty much just listen to music, you know. But yeah, it's pretty interesting because like the reason I'm even in this space is because like it just like it worked by just time. So like if I'm going through down moments, maybe I got like a low revenue month, maybe something's going wrong, and not just like in my business, but like in life in general, I just know like this too shall pass, and God has a plan for me. Yeah, just want to leave this video with that, because if it seems like it's hard to scale to 10K a month right now, just honestly like keep going. You'll figure it out, even though what you're doing right now is completely sidetracked. Like you have to go through that moments of being like totally sidetracked in order to get to that moment where you're completely aligned with your business, with the actions, with like everything. You know, you got to go through those moments. Like you can't do it without it. You got to learn those lessons, like I said in the beginning. But yeah, I just want to do that encouragement. I know a lot of my audience is like people that have a few clients in place, are at 20K per month, even stuff like that. But for those of you that are beginners, and for those of you that are just like super drained when it comes to your business, just keep going. You'll figure it out, honestly. The only thing that I'd say is like, when you have those down moments, just understand like this is the moment where most people quit. So are you a quitter or not? You know, simple as that. And I know for a fact, if you're watching this, the best consulting agency channel on YouTube, you're not a quitter, you know. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. For now, I'm gonna go snowboarding. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace, guys.